Defeat was clearly visible in his eyes. The one whom the world considered us to be a worthless person today is at the lowest level of his life. The person who did not have a roof to live was now about to lose his last hope. In the middle of the rain he started walking towards this luxurious beach. Those black bags in his hand were probably his entire wealth which he wanted to hide from the eyes of the world, but there was something strange in his every step. See by Panti, it is as if every drop of water coming on her is deepening the silence which was given to her by the society. Yet the girl who broke this silence did not even imagine that this call would end some of her pride for us too, but the truth that was about to come out was enough to shake her completely and leave her there. There were a lot of people inside the window, but for this boy there was only adoption. He was waiting for the call coming from the other side of the phone. It reminded him of his fatherhood. He called on the phone and it shook his soul. He called it a word and threw it out of his life for us. In a moment he missed the call. When the heart beats, there is no difference between the sound of the sea and the silence of the person. He only hears the silence inside, and then he thought that he has been doing the same since childhood. It was so bad that till this time it was written only about falling and losing. There was water in his memories, only not for the work but for the deeds done with hard work. He was beaten every time he was caught and made to rest. He had given his whole life to remain silent. The world had made him tired with great shame, as if a dream had been made for him. Now he was blind. He was like that. I was rather surprised that the eyes were not looking at them, but there was a door which was indicating that something big was about to happen. There was something like seeing the bank clerk screaming. That girl was a small person, by the way. Today, due to her luck, she had come to a mall where the wealth of the whole world was at her feet. On which bank the bank was standing. She had just woken up from her old identity. He was unaware of how powerful he had now become. Akana had revealed to him a mysterious system which had reduced the prices of the whole world by 10 lakh times, but his total capital remained the same. Now the few paisa available with him had made him the most powerful and the leader of this world, and he himself had no idea about it. He thought that maybe it was a dream or it was his illusion that the bank fought, but he was filled with very strange thoughts. He was not able to understand that the biggest change in his life had already started, and now there was no way to turn back. But he was about to explode. He had shaken the atmosphere of the entire country. Then he placed two plastic bags in his ears on the counter, which were filled with the children of his whole life. The girl sitting at the counter thought that this was a joke. Why did she do it? No one could have expected such a big thing to be kept in these beautiful bags, but there was only a few moments of happiness there. As if the bag was opened, the whole place was filled with the shine of the new, and the eyes of this lady were left in these bags. There was wealth worth crores of rupees, the value of which according to this world was more than the entire budget of any country. In a moment this lad's face was destroyed, and she was trying to bring her back to her head. She was not able to understand why this saddened man standing in front of her had actually become the world's biggest sufferer, in front of whom great people would bow down, but he did not know that this kingdom of his had now become famous and attracted big businessmen to him. In the silence, this girl scolded her big businessman to take care of her in the hope that she would be able to bear the burden of this luxury and wisdom. He should be careful because transaction of such a huge amount was not a matter for any human being, and the whole system was in danger. After this, the sounds of heavy coins started being heard outside the bank, and dozens of weapons were being fired towards the bank. The entire area was blackened, as if some big criminal or some very special guest was about to arrive there, which created a lot of tension. When he looked back, he was stunned. He was surrounded by commandos and black cars from all sides. He could not understand why he was being caught like a criminal just because he was collecting money, or was he being given a VIP escort? Then he greeted him with all his might and started taking him with great respect towards a luxury car. A huge convoy of cars started moving at a fast speed on the city roads, due to which everyone was surprised that finally there was a person sitting in this car. Who was he sitting inside the car amid the chaos of the commandos? He was unable to fathom where the time was going. He felt that the time had come only to register his doubts, but now he was being taken to a place from where his whole world was about to change forever. The price of the whole world suddenly decreased to a great extent. For this man, all this was like a dream. Brother-in-law, till then the world was just touching him, but now he was looking forward to his old days. He was enjoying life like a dream. He realized that the wealth he had now turned into the biggest power of this new world. Suddenly a mystery flashed on the screen of the system which told him that everything in the world would now be lost. The lakhs of rupees he had were still in ruins, which meant that he was the best human being in the whole universe. Then he got a call, and when he heard about the order of 10 boxes, he became sure that the things he had been waiting for had already been exhausted. Today he was getting the same feeling from the back. There the manager China was looking at him, drunk on his power, without knowing that with whom he bought this small amount of money it can buy his entire wealth. In an instant the smile of China was flowing from his face. But as long as he remained hidden from the world, he was about to destroy everything. He tried to show inferiority to Naya by showing the value of his inheritance and the pride of his wealth. China felt that the father of his wealth, this girl, was just like a carrier which he could grab whenever he wanted. For a moment a bright smile appeared on Naya's trunk, because he knew that now he himself was the golden calf. He was not angry at her, but in the same way, because he was marrying a man who had riches in him. But now he had to calculate what he had done to her, and when he felt guilty, then he stood in front of her, whose jewels now seemed more valuable than the yesterday's wealth of the biggest bird of the world, and then he took such a step that everyone present there was shocked to see him. He took out from his pocket a note with the picture of his hand printed on it, which was a proof that he was not an ordinary human being. It was a coin whose value was worthless in today's times. Without the blessings of the Arabs, he wanted to do Hajj without doing any Hajj. He tore this more valuable note apart from the coin, which he considered to be a paper of minor importance. This act could only be done by a person who did not care about money and who had no money. The moneylender was in charge of the money. Then his back burst and he was forced to walk on the ground with his hands on his chest. He had never seen such a huge display of money in his entire life. He was asked by everyone in the city to be welcomed wherever he was, under the shadow of a heavy guard, and a guard today with money worth crores he had opened up in front of the most special manager of the bank. Just one glance of this was enough to scare the big officials of the bank. Well, who examined the black table full of notes. When I saw those bags in euros, my eyes did not stop, and I realized that it was not a matter of fate but a change in fate. The sound of the machine started and the counting of notes started, but what he did not know was that this amount was much more than his expectations. He had completely revealed the secret of the bank. On the other hand, the bank employee was scanning the customer, but everyone here was listening as if he was a stranger. Ria had given a strange look on her face. He knew that if this boy was not made happy he could face a lot of trouble for the bank, but he did so. That's when a notification came on his screen, and he had just come near her, and the flashing numbers on the screen scared his life. There the amount of more than 6 lakh rupees was clearly visible. This was not a small pearl, but it was such a fortune which could change the whole life of any person. In a moment the cup of desire was taken out of his hand, and it was thrown on the ground too. There were so many coins that he could not even think of his bank account. The sound of the clinking of this cup in the kitchen was like a drum. Now he was going to get a reward of thousands every month. There was no happiness on his face, but only a glow was shining, and he knew that now the money was in his hands and the world was slipping behind him, because even the richest man of the city, Radney, did not have that much wealth. The path which the hero had hidden within himself had shaken everyone today, and then both of them left him on hearing such a report. He was the only one. The bank manager invited him for dinner and said that if he wanted any help, then he should leave the whole of his wealth at the feet of this boy whom he had once considered insignificant. Today he was doing the same and was demanding the status of his property. The top officers of the bank were also surprised to know that he was not an ordinary person, but he was the one who knew the truth. You have increased the fortunes of the whole world. The situation there has improved a lot. There was no limit to the bank manager's happiness because he had experienced the greatest heartbreak of his entire life. He was shocked to see the good fortune, but he didn't know that such a simple-looking person can be so poor. Still look back at the same lady who made her happy in the same sad situation of the bank. This is the same and the same. The mother was still considering Nay as a mere matter and did not want to leave any chance to adopt him. She had no idea that the person whom she was challenging could bring her to full senses in a moment, but when Nay swam in his own settled air and there was a sea of immortality all around, everyone present there was speechless. Now what was about to appear before his eyes shook everyone's soul and completely shattered everyone's thoughts.